Welcome to the Term Rental Playmaker Podcast, where we break down what it really takes to win in short-term rentals in today's market. From insider tips and emerging trends to real conversations with top playmakers in the space, this show gives you the tools, strategies, and mindset to build and scale a successful short-term rental business. Now, here's your host, Joe Roney.
This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast, and I am truly honored to have one of the best human beings that I've ever met in my entire life, who has brought me into the Savvy family about a year and a half ago, and it has been amazing for me. So none other than our Director of Expansion at Savvy STR Agents, Trish Bartley. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. And what an amazing introduction. I appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. And my wife, and you've heard my wife talk about it. We share an office, and every Monday morning we have our 9 a.m., calls with Savvy. And my wife, she gets energized just listening to you on our calls because that's what it's all about. Like, you really just kind of get us pumped up and get us ready for the week.
Well, thank you. That means it lands well, or you receive it as I intend, because it is. My passion is people. And so hearing that from you and from your wife, Jen. Hey, Jen. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that feedback.
Yeah. So obviously we met when, you kind of recruited me. We chatted about me joining the Savvy team all the way back in the summer of 2024. And here we are when this airs, we'll actually be a couple of days away from our next Savvy Summit. So that'll be coming up this weekend. So, it's really been a life-changing 18 months for me, but for you to get to where you got with Savvy, how did you and Tyler hook up and come up with this vision to build this empire of what we're going to be as the number one short-term rental agent team in the world?
Definitely. Well, I want to be my authentic self. And so I would definitely say my higher power is how it all happened, because there's no way that it would make sense that all the alignment happened the way that it did. So I was going through a transition just personally. And at the same time, it was where there was a recruiter, headhunter out there. My background is building teams within the real estate industry, as well as I've, managed corporate America, two different very dominating industries. And so I had that culture, that background already, but it was really right time, right place whenever, I'll tell you, when I saw the information, I was like, this has to be a hoax, because this is like who I am. This is every bit of what I'm capable of doing. And so it was 2 years ago. We're going into our third year right now, if it would have been November, but going into this year at this exact same time, it was when I first came in alignment with Tyler. And it was really everything that I'm not, he is amazing at. And so when you find that kind of synergy, it was, he was going, hey, I'm number one in the short-term rental space. I sell short-term rental niche only, properties. I make them super properties. I'm all about integrity. Just every single thing really just resonated with me. But then also it was where I was going, everything that he's wanting, because he said, if there was just a way that I could find a way to find agents all throughout that can do exactly what I do in all these other markets that would do business the way that I do, wow, that's what I'm wanting somebody to do. And I'll be honest, that's how the whole process went over a couple of months, as I was just like, that's exactly who I am. You don't need a playbook for that. I've got that playbook. And what I don't already have mapped out, that is every bit of who I am, as principles, core values, integrity, abundance mindset. And so I was just like, I'll figure it out. It's basically what I'm really good at, is figuring out people and figuring out how to I don't know, cohesively make a team. And so that's how it all started. That's when Tyler and I came together, and it was his vision. And I feel like I just came in as the executor. And it was also exactly what I'm passionate about. So it never feels like work, as you say.
Yeah. It doesn't. And it makes me, exactly what you said, makes me reflect on the book, Who Not How. And if you've never read that book, you should, right? Because, we are in a relationship business, no matter what business you're in, you're in a relationship business. And the people you put yourself in business with are what's going to help you elevate. And Tyler needed that person, and he found that in you. He didn't know how to do it. He found the right person to help him do it. And the rest is history. And here we are, $355 million, last year, and on our road to $1 billion this year. So pretty exciting. So what I do want to kind of bring up, though, is even before this, when you were in Colorado, because we've had this discussion, like you've been in short-term rental space, you've even had cleaning company. And so you're not just like some person that doesn't know anything about this space. Like you have a history of this before you joined.
Absolutely. Do you want me to dive into that just a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, being in Breckenridge, Colorado is actually where I lived and had moved from Arkansas. So anybody culturally knows there's not Southerners out West, especially not in Breckenridge. It is a very remote market, it's a remote market, if you will, but also I went there first for my family. My son was having some challenges. And so I was like, again, solution building always. I thought, how can I take a business? I did virtual assisting before people knew what virtual assisting was back in 2013. I used that to leverage also with my real estate license with Keller Williams at the time, and taught technology and would do transaction coordination. It was unheard of to be able to work remotely, but that's what I needed as my most important thing in life is my family. And so to be with my boys and to be able to do that just made good sense. So yeah, so then you fast forward, next thing you know, I've got amazing cleaners, a cleaning company, Made to Clean Summit County, and won awards our first year there, but had 35 cleaners, people that, we understand the back-to-back. We understand what a 10 to 4, turnovers are and what a good cleaning is. We know what it means when as an owner, I've had properties. So I've got, from Branson, Missouri, Arkansas, had in Miramar, had in Steamboat Springs, as well as there in Silverthorne. And so definitely recognize that there's a whole different shift throughout the United States. Like there's no one agent that's the same. There's no one market that's the same. I mean, trust me, if it's a fresh powder day, you're not even going to get agents coming into the office at 9 or 10, even on mountain time. So you learn those heartaches. You understand what bed bugs cost, when you have them, and that pain of remedying it, and plus losing the stay afterwards. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into short-term rental. And so that's really where I started getting the mindset that it's easier to teach real estate to people in the short-term rental world, like how you and I connected, than it is to take real estate agents that have been residential or even as commercial came out, throughout those years, but to teach them those pain points that happen in the short-term rental space.
Yeah. And I think it's important. And I think it's what helps you hire people in our short-term rental agents in our market, because you've been there, you've done it, you've been in the trenches. You're not just someone that Tyler said, hey, you don't know anything about this. We're going to let you build this. And it's what's shifted us to that. And then we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit and really talk about mindset and the abundance mindset and what you've brought, because I think that's probably one of the things that separates us from anyone else in the industry is the abundance mindset. There is enough business out there for everybody to win. None of us are rooting for even our competitors, or even the people that we might even have as enemies. We're not rooting for them to lose. We just want to beat them, and that's okay. It's competition.
We want to take market share.
But nobody has to lose. And I think that's one of the things that I really get out of what you've brought is that abundance mindset. So kind of dive into where that mindset came from and how long you've had that.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is truth bomb. We're getting personal, right? It's okay. Safe space to go ahead and share. I mean, I'm saying safe space like it's you and I, and as if it won't be seen.
It's going to be on YouTube, so it's okay.
Yeah.
No one will see it.
It's okay, because if my pain can help one person, I feel like it's worth it. And so I would say that where does that mindset come from? Honestly, it would come from a scarcity mindset, fear, and trauma myself. And so there was no playbook. There was no guideline. There was nobody to phone a friend, Google, who do I talk to? Where do I start? And so I built that. And so in return, my goal is to always be that for the next person. And I feel like anything that I've went through from childhood, business, business challenges, that whenever you're in it at that time, they seem so huge. But then hindsight, you look back and you go, oh, that was just a stepping stone. I'd go through that 10 times over if I knew it would land me here.
Yep.
And so it was really just looking at it from a new lens, a new perspective of gratitude, and just saying, for me, it was like, God, I don't know why I keep going through this stuff, or why I keep getting tasked with these challenges. And I don't know who to source it out to. But in that, I figured out that if you lean into the right people, if you educate yourself, if you are vulnerable and share things like this, the right people, we gravitate to one another.
Yep.
And so whenever people say, Trish, what's your hiring criteria? What's your this and that? A lot of it has to do with willingness culture. The best people that I have worked with now in my adulthood is broken people, because broken people, they look at life totally different. Mm-hmm. Something you can't teach, a lens you can't create. But that mindset, then if you give them the playbook, like what Tyler has in real estate, you're going to be successful. It's proven because you're not, it's the old country saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yep. It's just like, you're not spending all your energy trying to get people to do the right thing, to have the right core values, to value their family first, to have a work ethic. Instead, you get to hone in that skill with the playbook, and man, it's dynamic. Look at yourself, Joe. I mean, have you shared your story on here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, how do you mow lawns and run a daycare, and then get this through abundance and hard freaking work, and aligning with the right people and gravitating to the people that value life just the same way you do.
It is. And one of the things that I really love about what we have is it's not also 100% about business. Like when we sat down and we talked about our 2026 goals, yes, we have dollar goals and sales goals, but one of the things that you have on yours, and I do as well, is our own personal health, our own personal fitness. And one of the things that you do that we did when we were in Boston together is that the daily gratitude walk, which, I run in the morning. Sometimes I walk, but it's the same thing, but it's something that really starts your day in that positive mindset. And I had never done one where, like what you do, where you actually have something and you're listening and doing that. But man, it's powerful to start your day like that.
Thank you. I'm going to drop into some tears here. Cause I'll tell you, whenever, I'm a storyteller, or I try to align with people that way. But I remember the time when I couldn't get out of bed because so much I was in such a dark space. And so for me, it was, get out of bed, Trish, make your bed. Just make your bed today. If you get out and make your bed, you're less likely to get into it. All right, now let's stack that win. You're doing that consistently. All right, now stack the win of meditative, or prayer, or daily journaling. There's so many ways, but I kept trying the different ones until what landed with me. Yep. And that was like a mantra. That was the gratitude of looking around outside, listen to the birds, listen to things. Because for me, I really learned that if I stayed inside all day, or if I just went straight into the social media world, or what people have tasked or anything like that, that I wasn't living life.
Yep.
And I was just like, for me, I was just like, so yeah, you can make a lot of money, or yeah, you can work. But if you don't want to live, and if you don't want to be here, and if you're miserable, is any dollar amount worth it? Nope. And so that's really where I push people of saying, get your daily routine, because whatever's empty inside, whatever is going on, that void, unless you feel it, and unless you have self-worth, and unless you figure out that mindset and gratitude, nothing is going to satisfy you. No alcohol, no drugs, no money, no relationships, none of those. But yeah, that's how it started. And when I first did it, it was 5 years ago was my first gratitude walk. And people were complete a-holes to me. I even remember dropping it in my story in Facebook, and I was just like, hey, does somebody want to walk and talk with me? You want to take 5 with me? Like, I was trying to come up with something cool, that it was just like to gain connection with somebody. And it was actually, I got replied, no, that's ridiculous. Who would do that? And so to see it now, fast forward, that we have built a community within Savvy, that even as our Savvy Summit, hey, I'm going to be thrown out there every morning for everybody to walk, and to now see that in you guys, it brings it's next level. There's no words for it, honestly.
It is. And I'm glad you brought up the alcohol and drugs and money and success, because none of that matters. And what's interesting in our space, and I've seen it more in the past year and 2 years, of how many people have given up all of that alcohol. Even I was in Whitefish, Montana recently at Bill's mastermind event. And even in our breakout session with our accountability group, like, it was partly about business, but everyone was talking about, like, I'm doing 75 hard, or I'm going to give up vaping, or I'm going to, this is what I'm doing. And it was more about that health and wellness and mind, body, spirit, like the whole package, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all here on earth one time. And, and when you get to a certain point in your life, and you've worked as hard as you've worked as hard as I've worked, you get to a point where you're like, there are way more important things than those 100-hour work weeks. Now, that doesn't mean we're not hustling. We're still hustling, but you got to take that time for yourself. And I think it's really important.
Joe, let me ask you this. What's your morning routine?
So, yeah, and it's changed because travel schedule. But when I'm not traveling, like today, I woke up and did 3 miles on the pavement. That was the first thing I did before I did anything else today. And it helps me kind of refresh. And some days it's going to the gym, like we're going to be in the single digits this week, and I'm not going to go run outside. I'm going to probably go up to the gym. But I do like getting that morning workout. And I am starting on that meditation part from Mike Kitko's book. And that's something that is on my to-do this month. I've practiced a couple of times. I've never done it before. So that's something totally new that I've never even tried. And we're going to see how it goes.
Let me ask you, what do you see? How do you show up different whenever you do things like that? When you're intentional of starting your day with that before diving into business?
So if I wake up stressed, thinking about all the things that are on my plate, I'm not going to get it done. I'm going to get scatterbrained, and all of a sudden noon's going to roll around, and I'm going to be like, oh my God, I just wasted a half a day and I didn't get anything done. Like, what just happened? So if I don't get that, and sometimes I do have to cut it short to 20 or 30 minutes, and sometimes it's for a full hour, depending on what I have on my plate, or if I woke up late or whatever it is. But I do try to prioritize that time. I do like to see my daughter off before she goes off to school. There's certain things that I want to be able to do every morning. And that seeing her off is 10 seconds. And it sounds silly. Like, she's getting ready. She gets in the room, says, bye-bye, I'm leaving. And it's that 10-second hug and kiss and have a good day. But I love that part of my day.
Yeah. So what I just heard you say is being present.
Yep.
And being intentional. Like, those words stick out to me when I hear you say that. Being mindful. Like, you're being mindful by choosing gratitude that day before you get into anything else. And also what I heard is that you've already accomplished something before you even start your day. So instead of getting there at noon throughout your day and you're like, I haven't done this, I haven't completed this. Instead, you're like, man, I've already knocked out 5 different things. That's exactly what I do. So somebody asked me on the internet recently, and I laid it out. I said, I'm okay being crazy. It's good to be a little crazy. We think outside the box. But I start out with a light therapy while on a vibration plate, sometimes having a coffee, and then I go straight into either meditation or I get outside and do a gratitude walk because for me, getting outside is that freshness, that unplugging from everything and being intentional before starting the day. So yeah, same kind of stuff. I like it. I like it.
It's really impactful, and it sets the tone for your day. It sets the tone for your week, and you have to make that time for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those people, a year or 2 years from now that's burnout over all the hours, and they're getting out of the business because they realize they didn't put the right thing in place. So,
Right.
so obviously, Savvy over the past 18 months since I've been with Savvy, but over the last 2 years has really grown, and it's grown not just a little. I mean, I saw Tyler post something in our group the other day, and someone said, here comes the Savvy swarm, because someone posted, I'm looking for a realtor in this market, and that person was tagged 9 times. But it's truly a family, because we have grown together, and I think when I started, we had 7 or 8 agents, maybe 10 agents, and I don't know where we're up to now, 30 plus, I think.
We got 6 coming on right now. Yes.
Yep. And in the past week, I've seen welcome to, and what's really cool is, I think I've helped bring on 5 of our agents, with some of it. And I've enjoyed that. And I'm watching their lives change now too, because my life has changed since joining Savvy.
Yes, sir.
And we're also changing other people's lives. Like, we're not just changing our lives by selling more real estate. We're helping people get into this space successfully to change their lives. And, and it has to feel good for you to look back and reflect and say, I was a big part of building this, and you're still building it. Right. I mean, we're just, as we said this week in our call, this is just the beginning. Like, Savvy is going to continue on. This isn't just we're just kind of part-timing it.
Yeah, everything you said is spot on. I mean, absolutely spot on. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But I'll tell you, it was intentional at the beginning. I mean, I was selling a vision and a prayer. Come on. It was like, I was just saying integrity is what it's going to be. But I know you and I had that conversation, because I said, I don't know what we're going to run into 2 months from now. I don't know what we're going to run into a year from now, but I want to be in alignment 7 years from now. And so whatever it is, we're going to have a marriage, a friendship, a partnership. And as long as you'll ride with me, and that we'll figure it out, whatever comes. And we've ran into business things that we don't know. This is uncharted territory. But what I'm always going to do is treat it with integrity, lay it all out there and say, let's together collaborate and build a solution. And so, the first year, my word was integrity. The next year was community, because I was just like, this ain't about me. It's great. I can have 5 or 6 or 7 agents, but if it's not the same core values, the same principles in life, it's just going to be another business venture, and it's going to, it's going to drizzle out or whatever. But what could it look like to empower those people to be the short-term rental agent, and to give them not only the playbook, but all the things to be supportive? And that, you could walk in fear with that. You could say, oh, that's just giving them the reins. Well, that's what you do. That's what you should do whenever you want to build somebody up. And so this year, you're exactly right. If somebody was to ask me, or it was Tyler to ask me, I said, it's about now going deep. We've got the foundation. We've got our community. We put core values on a paper. We did work on it last year. Now it's about empowering you and some of the others to build leaders within, because that's where the movement really happens, is when it's people that now you're bringing me people. Well, guess what? I'm going to trust people you bring to me quicker than me having to go stalk them on social media or in the community. There's other agents, they were just like, where did you find me? And I was like, I couldn't find an agent. I found you. You're a property manager. I checked into what you got going on, and I don't know, you want to get licensed? So let's talk about this. And 3 months, 6 months into it, now they're doing first year real estate. You've even got a person, from 4 million to, I think up to 14 million in first year of real estate, period. Like, that's unheard of. That's unheard of.
No, it's unreal. And Lee on our team is a prime example of
Yeah.
someone that was in the property management space, and she co-hosted, she owns some properties. She decides to join the team and gets her license, and I think she didn't even start until like July, August,
July.
and
That's it.
sold
Yes.
$10 million before the end of the year. And the more important part is made $10 million people's goals come true on what they were wanting to do, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help people achieve the goals that they're looking for. There's a lot of transactional agents out there that you can, call them up. They're going to sell you a house, and then you're never going to hear from them again. And we truly have that community, not just within us as agents, but within even our investors, which is pretty awesome, and excited to see where we go, because this is just the beginning. It's been really, really exciting, and it's one of my favorite things that I like to bring up is at the STR Wealth Conference, which everyone knows the STR Wealth Conference is one of the biggest conferences of the year, and thousands of people were there. And I show up on the first night, which is the Thursday night or Tuesday night, whatever it was, and I got to the Savvy booth, and I had people lined up waiting to talk to me. Like the 2 years before that, I was at the Savvy STR or the STR Wealth Conference as a nobody in the back, just
you've always been somebody
trying to figure out my way. But at that one, people knew who I was, and people were coming up to me, and they were like, "Oh!" But what I love about Savvy is that this isn't Tyler Savvy, and I love Tyler to death, but he had a vision to say, you need to be the person in your market. So I grew as the PCB guy. I have the Emerald Coast market, and we build our brand from that. And Brandon and his team in the Smokies, and Michael up in it doesn't matter who it is. They are in their market as the savvy person in that market. And it's not just, oh, this is the person and here's my agents, like it,
1,000,000%.
we get to build our own brand.
That's it. And that's also kind of from the brokerage standpoint. We started broker agnostic, and, we've got a history of where you started with another brokerage as you came in from the expansion side of business. And that was intentional. That was because I got burned in my past. I built out some teams, and guess what? Then money took over, and the decisions, everything we said that we weren't going to do, somebody pivoted because the dollar sign. And so that was something that Tyler knew from the beginning. I was just like, he knows he would be okay with this. He's going, it's not the Tyler show. And it was just like, it's again, that fear that we're not going to go from a chokehold. We're going to release that, and we're going to know that we're aligned with the right people, that we're family, and we're all in this together. We're going to come from abundance, even if we don't know what that looks like yet.
Yes.
We know it's going to come back tenfold, and it's proven that over and over again, for sure.
Yep. And for the listeners out there, the reason why I, obviously wanted to have Trish on today to talk about this is because even in your business, no matter what that business is, all of this, it comes down to putting yourself in the room with the right people, having the right hires, having the mindset of thinking so much bigger than where you are today. And the last book I'm going to bring up is Science of Scaling, which is a book that Tyler had us read. He read recently, and creating those impossible goals and what that future really does hold. And, this is truly a business that the sky's the limit. Like, I've been in businesses where this is it. You're never going to get above this,
You're capped.
and you're capped. And, if you look at buying a franchise at Pizza Hut, the average franchisee is going to profit $168,000 a year, or this franchisee is going to do that. There is no cap here. And I'm not talking about just in real estate, but just in real estate investing, short-term rentals, everything all in. The sky truly is the limit, and you can make as much or as little as you want, whatever you're comfortable with.
And you see where that goes full circle. Great job saying that, Joe, because you see why then you need to show up your best self. So when you are around people and it's saying like, why'd you stop drinking? Why are you exercising? Why are you this and that? I was just like, I can't expect other people to show up their best self if I'm looking like a slubba, if I haven't even done the work, and so that's why I was just like, okay, I'm done. Not drinking. I'm done. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to think, and I'm over a year, 2, 3 years in different just like I said, the gratitude walk for 5 years. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but if you do it with the right people, your rewards will come back. Just like we said, financially, if you can show up if you can show up in a place and there's no ceiling, just think of what the small shifts and pivots of being the best version of yourself and having the right energy every single day and having the integrity and having hard conversations. You put yourself, you're setting yourself up for success right then. More than less, get in the rooms with the right people for sure.
Yep. I'd say the biggest thing for me is, and especially being a realtor, 2 years ago before I joined Savvy, like I was one of those realtors that was counting my commission. Like, am I going to make enough money to pay this bill? And am I going to be doing this? And now it's not if, it's I know we're going to have more business next month and the bit next month after that, because we've built something great. And when you do that, when you work in commission, everybody who works in commission is, you always you have those times that you struggle. We've all been struggling salespeople that, we were trying to figure out how to make ends meet. And when you have that abundance mindset and you do things the right way, and I'm a firm believer in karma. If you do things in the right attention and you do things the way they should be done, it's going to come back tenfold.
Correct. Yes.
So, the last thing I want to bring up is the DISC assessments, because this is something that I never did. And I had done one before with a previous broker, can't really say we did anything with it. But if out there, if you've never done a DISC assessment, we even did one on my wife when we were in Boston. It's
so fun.
really, really interesting, because it does create your personalities and helps you align with people that are going to be good hires. And it's something that we're kind of implementing into our business as we hire people and pulling those DISC assessments. And it's one of the things that I think has really helped us at Savvy find the right people, because that tells you so much about that person. It's, an interview is one thing, but to really understand that person, I think it's been really impactful.
Agreed. I mean, that's exactly is that, how do I word this respectfully? It's like Tyler's everything I'm not, and vice versa. And I have so much respect, and I appreciate Tyler's kindness that he always gives me props for that. He's just like, oh, expansion and agents, that's Trish, and he was just like, but now real estate and how to create the pro formas and how to do all of that. He's like, oh, I got that nailed down. And that's because of those DISC assessments. That's because of the personality profiling. Same goes with the operations, saying, that's what we spoke on stage, Tyler and I in Boston, about, just for that reason. The old school way that I say it, the country is like right people in the right lane or right seat of the bus. It's like you can have a bus, but if you fill it up with that, that's why we don't have 200 agents on the team. It's not because we couldn't. Oh, trust me, I have thousands of conversations, but you want to move this bus along with the right person in the right seat, which, is the right market, the right area, instead of bringing a bunch of people in that, nobody. I want to enjoy what I do every day. All it takes is one poor attitude or one ego-driven personality, and it can corrupt a thing. And so, I'm a loyalist to a fault. My protective instincts are over 1 to 10, way over 10. And I show that in hiring, because we're building something incredible, and I would rather do it. I hear everybody say we've done it so fast. I feel like I go so slow, but it's really building it with intention with the right people.
Yeah. I think one of the words that you just used there is probably one of my favorite words, and it's something that's been a big staple of my wife and I our entire life together, is loyalty. And I think that's something that's not, too many people don't use that or value that in today's world. It's too easy to throw something away and move on to the brighter, shinier penny, or, whatever that, the grass is greener on the other side. And, in our team leaders meeting this week, Tyler talked about, as team leaders, like, we all want to be here in 10 years, 15, 20 years together. We're independent agents, but we're on this really great team together, and we want to be on the Savvy yacht and on those Savvy vacations and doing these things together, because it's fun. Like, this is so much fun. Like, I've never had so much fun in a job in my entire life. It's not I say the word job. It's not a job, but I've never had so much fun doing something in my entire life. And I truly, truly enjoy every single phone call that I get to get on with new investors, even if it's ones that say, they're not going to buy. I talked to an investor today and he had unrealistic expectations. We had a great conversation and he's going to go invest in the stock market because it's better for him, for his goals. This wasn't the right business for him. And I think that's, the loyalty part is such a big thing. And we're seeing it in our community now. I'm seeing the loyalty throughout, the other agents that are on this team. They see the vision. And when you create something great, it's much easier to have a loyal group with you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I just like your reassurance. I appreciate that feedback because that's the goal. You always wonder if it lands and you do see it. I mean, I sit back in awe and just see everything that you guys have accomplished. And that's all you. That is all you. I mean, it's the right person ready to have the right support. And I'm so thankful. There's not one person on our team right now that I wouldn't say doesn't have a story, and that they have also appreciated and understand the success that they have currently and what's ahead of them. And for that, I'm so, so grateful to be in business with them.
Yeah. So I'm going to have you part with two questions that I'm starting to ask everyone that comes on. One is, did you achieve your goals in 2025?
Personal goals or business?
Just all in. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I was like, because you know me, I'm the whole person.
Yep.
So yes, I did in all areas. So, sticking with Savvy, the goal was 225 million. And I think we blew that out of the water. And so respectfully, we nailed that. My goals also were the community, close out with community and culture. And we even put that to paper. So then that way we had something tangible to say, with everybody's feedback, are we all in agreement that this is our core values, as individuals to be on our team and as a company? So that was a huge goal for me for the whole year long. And then personally, I'm a constant work in progress. So I don't think that I will ever say that I hit my goals because I'm always going to raise that bar. I'm always going to raise that ceiling, but I'm getting there. I have a purpose-driven life. I feel very purposeful every single day. I feel like I look through life in a greater lens. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that, yes, that goal, that next level is unlocked. Let's say it like that it's just like, I feel like I am in the process of achieving things.
Excellent. Excellent. And I'm sure you've written down your 2026 goals, but what's a high level of what if we're talking 1 year for now, was 2026 successful and what did you do to make it successful?
Consistent, never quit. Even on the days that you don't want to, you still do it. Just like, I'll use your own words. You say that you went to the gym, and even if you have to trim it back in time or effort or anything, you still showed up. And so showing up for people around you, no matter if that's personal or business. And then I'm a huge advocate that you give as much as you receive in this world. And so no matter how great or no matter how not great you think you're doing, keep giving back. Whenever I had nothing, lived in a bunkhouse, no bedrooms, doing all of that, I still gave back to my community. And so I would see that as a greater scale, that the more that I can accomplish and balance that with giving back, that's a win in my eyes.
Awesome. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed having you on to chat today. And I know our listeners will get a lot out of this podcast because there's just so much great positive things that always radiate through you. And, we really, really enjoy every time we get to have a conversation. So thank you so much for coming on this week. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, that's another episode of the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast. We are making plays in this space, and make sure you tune in next week. Thanks.